You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, welcome back to our second part of our show. It's every Monday morning at 6:15. Scott Hobbs calls, and we talk about preventive maintenance, not only for your car, which we talk about, and how to repair cars. We talk about preventive maintenance for your home. There's a lot of things that people can do on their own to save them some time, save them some money, and being proactive is something that Scott Hobbs and I are trying to do in the plumbing industry for too long now. He says, this is what his words is, he says the automotive market's been promoting maintenance and taking care of things before they tear up, and the plumbing industry is kind of falling behind. And so he's trying to pick that up and kick it up a notch and make it where you understand preventive maintenance is the best way to have you save money and keep everything working in your house like it's supposed to. Good morning, Scott. How are we doing today, sir?
I'm great. How are you this morning?
I am doing marvelous. I got to go play with my bees this weekend, and that's why I love warm weather. I love being outside and getting to play with them. And it was cool yesterday, but it was sunny and lots of fun. Now, how was your weekend? I know usually that's when y'all have those crises that can happen when people have company over and they don't expect those drains to back up or those pipes to break. And I'm sure that may probably happen this weekend to someone out there.
Oh, sure. It's been a busy weekend. We've been getting a lot of stopped up drains for sure. One of the busiest, this is one of our busiest times of the year, because if you know about trees, the roots are active this time of the year. So we're experiencing a lot of roots in the line, the sewer line from the house to the street. So we're getting involved in replacing a lot of those at this point in time.
I had no idea. I know that, out of sight, out of mind, I wouldn't think about it, but I know something's happening because I can see what's happening in my beehives. They're just blowing up. I mean, they're really growing. I'm going, man, this is January. Why these bees, I'm having to make splits. And this is, you don't normally do this till March. But I didn't think about it, but as the weather warms up, the trees start growing. The sap starts to rise. The trees start looking for moisture, more moisture to grow, and they will become right into those old terracotta, what do you call those, orange pipes that are nothing more than tar paper with wrapped in
the Orangeburg is nothing more than tar paper. That was built back during World War II when they were rationing steel, and they couldn't get a hold of cast iron, so they made it out of tar paper, which evidently it was a pretty good product because we're still running into it today.
That's what I can't believe that. I mean, and what do y'all do when y'all run into them? Do y'all have to replace them or just clean them out and reline them or make them stronger? What do y'all end up having to do on most cases?
No, it's really something that has to be replaced because after 60, 70 years, they've just deteriorated, and the roots will wrap around them and squeeze them shut and just wreak havoc on them. So they only lasted 70 years. So
only 70 years. I don't know people that last 70 years. You look in the obituaries, you see a lot of people that didn't make it that long. Every morning I check to make sure I'm not in there. Kind of like a Twilight Zone feature. Well, I'm not in the obituary, so I guess it's all right to go to work. But
You're vertical.
Yeah, I'm vertical. That's what's going on. But I didn't think about that. Now we talk about BioChoice. BioChoice is kind of like a probiotic that you put down your drain to eat away the fats, oil, and grease. You call it the fog, F-O-G. It's that white, it's that white waxy substance that's inside your drain pipes that go to your septic tank or go to your drains. And I've seen this happen. I've seen people take them out of their house, remodeling house or whatever, and they'll take that drain up and it'll come out in great big sheets, 4 and 5 feet long, this waxy, foggy stuff, it's oily stuff. And it just falls out on the ground. I go, man, what is that? And he said, that's just oils, body oils, and just stuff, that just collects there. And I said, is there any way to get rid of it? And back then they said the only way to get rid of it is to I don't know how to describe it. Just blast it out, hydroblast it out or root it out or whatever. And like Mr. Rooter, hydroscrub it. And they didn't have that pro-choice back then. But now you've got something that, it's like cars. Cars don't clog up with sludge overnight, and BioChoice doesn't work overnight. But over a period of time, if you start using it in 3 to 6 months, those slow drains will become more fluid and allow more fluid to pass through. because it's a very slow process, but it works. Same thing like putting full synthetic oil in your dirty engine and changing it more often. You will get your engine clean again with the full synthetic oil. And this is the same thing by putting Bayou Choice down the drain or or even your toilet, flushing it down your toilet, going down the drains. What is it? 2 ounces per drain and a cup for toilet. Is that what it is?
Sure, for just a maintenance.
Yeah.
More aggressive naturally if you're having some slow drain issues.
Right.
Now, if you're completely stopped up,
Yeah,
that's when it's time to call in professional.
Yeah.
Let's open that drain up, get a good flow going, and then the residual that sticks to the walls, that's where the BioChoice will eat that away, and then of course maintain it for a long period of time.
Well, I had a gentleman, it's a very similar situation. I had a gentleman that came into my shop and he said, I want to do some work on my engine. And I said, what do you want to do on your engine? He said, well, it's all sludged up and I want to clean it out and get the sludge off. And I said, no, don't do that. Just start changing your oil more often, put synthetic oil in it, and it'll take care of it. Well, he didn't listen to me. He pulled the valve covers off, he cleaned his valve covers, and he broke all that sludge loose. Then he put it back together again, and then he drove the car. Then he calls me up and said, hey, my oil pressure, I started up, it's fine, but after about 2 minutes, it drops to 0. And then I go, what? And he says, yeah, and then I shut it off, and I started back up again. I got good oil pressure, and after about 2 or 3 minutes, it drops to 0. And I said, you didn't go in your engine and do that work you were talking about doing? And he says, yeah, I did. And I said, well, drag it over here with a wrecker. I get to pull the engine out and take your oil pan off and change the pickup tube because it's now clogged up with sludge. Because all that sludge you broke loose in the top of the engine and down the bottom of the engine, the pickup tube is not, it can't pick up the oil because you've clogged it up. It didn't get there overnight, and it's not going to go away overnight. It's got to be a slow process. And you're saying it's the same thing on your drains, right?
Absolutely,
okay.
Sure. This is years and years of buildup and deterioration that causes these issues.
Well, in our business, there's a few people out there that recommend where they take a machine and they put it on the oil and it heats up the oil and it cleans the sludge off. And I've had automotive engineers that caution me about that. And I said, if you do that, you stand a very good chance of ruining that engine because, like you said, it was years and years to get that way. And if you try to fix it in a couple hours, you may do some irreparable damage because it's just not designed to dissolve that fast. And that's the same thing you're saying about drains. If you go in there and put Drano in it, yeah, it's gonna do something. It's gonna open the drain up, but it may do irreparable damage. What does Drano actually do to your pipes? People may want to know. I have no idea what it does.
Sure. Well, the challenge with that is it's going to take the softest part of the clog and it's going to eat a hole in it. And you feel like you've done something, but you still have the issue there. The walls of the pipe are still caked up with the fats, oils, grease, and whatever else may be in the line. But over time, I think I sent you a picture one time of a kitchen drain that had years of whatever chemicals poured down the drain, and it was just a trough, just rotted out. The bottom of the pipe is just rotted out. Cast iron pipe, just completely rotted out. There was maybe 60% of the pipe left, and that was on the top side.
Yeah, it looked like the letter C.
That's right, sure. Yeah.
Looked like the letter C. I'm going, what happened to the bottom of it? And I think that house was built in the late 50s, you said? I think that's when it was.
Sure, it was cast iron, which cast iron was prevalent all the way up into the 70s
okay.
in our area.
Yeah, and it just ate it right up. And I was surprised it even drained at all because the bottom was completely in the dirt.
Sure.
And I go and say, how does this thing even drain? For years, this thing couldn't have drained very well. But and y'all ended up having to break the foundation.
Sure.
And everything.
The scary part of that is we do open up slabs sometimes to make those repairs, and there'll be a void or a cavity under the folks' house where it's just draining and soaking into the soil under the house for years.
And that could lead to your slab shifting or cracking or losing support.
Sure.
And I didn't realize, cause I guess that is something that happens down here because there's some businesses around town that take care of houses that have settled and where the slabs have cracked and everything. And I guess the same thing could happen if you left that untreated for a long period of time, and if it washes out, your house could actually crack the slab and your house could settle.
Sure, not only that, but you don't want the raw sewage under your house.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's true, too. I didn't think of it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's horrible.
Now, we're only talking about what, 12 inches under the slab? I mean, probably 12 inches separating. Is that how? I don't even know how thick slabs are. I have no idea how.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the typical home slab is only about 4 inches.
Okay.
In the middle, and of course they'll have a footer around the edge.
Yeah.
It could be any thickness.
Yeah.
It could be depending on where it was built.
Wow.
But it's not very thick. So
I had no idea. You got about 4 inches of concrete slab, and over a period of time that keeps washing away. Now you got a big void in there, and you've got everything sitting on top of that slab with nothing underneath to support it, and it's only 4 inches. And you may end up having a sinkhole develop in your house. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but I guess you might have something. I'm sure it's reinforced, but you'll get cracks, and you may get those those terrible sewer gases coming up in your house. And I'm sure that may be the first symptom that people have about this happening is the sewer gas coming in their house. They can't figure out where it's coming from. How do y'all figure that out?
Sure, or it could be the smell.
Yeah.
Just the smell of it, working its way through a crack or something of that nature. So it is a bad situation.
Yeah.
It should be repaired correctly.
Yeah. How do y'all find gas leaks like that? Sewer smell leaks. Do y'all put smoke bombs off or something? I don't know. I'm just guessing.
That's a really fun process.
Oh.
We have a smoke machine that we attach outside to the drain outside.
Yeah.
And we put smoke bombs in, and they smell really bad. They have a horrible sulfur smell. And so what we do is one guy lights the smoke bomb, and he stays outside and tends to the machine, and the other guy, he stays away, keeps his nose clean, and he goes inside, and if there is just the slightest little pinhole in the drain line, it will emit that smell and the smoke. It'll just look like a stream coming out of that pinhole, or if it's a big open crack, it'll certainly blow out from there. You'll find quickly.
Well, that's the same. That's That's a similar procedure we use to find evaporative emission leaks in vehicles. We see that dreaded check engine light on. We come in with a PO456 or PO442, the dreaded evap light. People go, "What does that mean?" I said, "That means somewhere between the gas tank and your engine, you've got an evaporative emission leak. If something's not doing right or closing right or whatever." And that's how we find them, by putting just a little bit of pressure and a smoke machine to figure out where the leak is, and then it'll come out. But it's not as big as yours. It's just a much smaller scale. We're not using smoke bombs. We are using a smoke machine, like you said. But I guess y'all say it's got a lot of a sulfur smell, so you can smell it before you probably see it. At least point you in the right direction. I guess that's why y'all
Sure,
have that.
and if it's behind a wall, you can certainly smell it before you see it. It may be trapped in that wall.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's pretty neat how it works, because, it's just a small fan that blows the smoke in, just to blow it into the pipe. But actually, the drafting through the vent pipes in the roof is what pulls it through the system, fills the system up.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, that is pretty interesting. Scott, I learned a lot about. I had no idea there was a preventive maintenance on your homes that people can do, and that's in ours. Also, the diagnostics are similar to auto repair. We're using smoke to find a problem. I kind of like that idea, but this is pretty neat, and people can learn more about taking care of their home, and maybe have y'all come over, and they can call 763-2001 and ask for y'all to come out there and take a look at their property or their problems they have. And do y'all give free estimates when y'all come out there before y'all start the work?
Sure. We'll give you a price up front. Whether it's for the diagnostics to get to the root of the problem, or if it's obvious, then we can give you a price for that to go ahead and get started. And if you say, hey, it's not within my budget or not what I was expecting, then we'll simply go on our way. There's no obligation.
That's wonderful. Give him a call, everybody. Scott Hobbs Plumbing, 763-2001. And we'll talk to y'all next. Well, we'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll talk to you next week, Scott, but we'll talk to everybody else tomorrow morning. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.